So in today's video, we are doing this completely bonkers and unscientific test with 4 different cameras from 4 different manufacturers with completely different image qualities using Dehancer, which is a plugin for DaVinci Resolve that lets you use different kinds of film stocks. And if you guys are interested, they're actually sponsoring today's video, so use code REACHFILMS10 and you can get 10% off of Dehancer. So without further ado, let's hit it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Geoff Fagien, and this is a channel where I do some gear reviews, talk about filmmaking, and show some behind the scenes of some of my work. So if you guys like what you see, please help me out and hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell. But without further ado, let's talk about this camera test. So in today's test, we are using Dehancer to color grade 4 completely different cameras, which are the RED Komodo, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, the Sony ZV1, and the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. You heard that right. These are 4 completely different cameras at completely different price points, but they all have log color profiles, so I wanted to see how they look stacked up against each other. So on the RED Komodo and the Pocket 4K, I'm using the Sigma 18-35 at 1.8, and on the Sony ZV1 and the Mavic 2 Pro, I'm using their built-in lenses. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the basic test footage I took here in the studio, and then we'll come back and talk about it and do a little bit of side-by-side. So it's hard to pick a clear winner as of image quality because that's not really what this test was about. But obviously the winners were really the Pocket 4K and the RED Komodo. Now it's interesting to see how close the ZV1 came to those cameras, and also how far the Mavic 2 Pro was away from the ZV1, because the Mavic 2 Pro is a 1-inch sensor like the ZV1, but it's supposed to be 10-bit. So I like the colors off the ZV1 a little bit better, and that is an 8-bit color profile. Now, the one thing to remember though is that the ZV1 does have a 1.8 lens if you're shooting at the widest focal length, whereas the Mavic 2 Pro is a 2.8. So the one interesting thing to take away from the RED Komodo, and you can even see this behind me right now, the blue LED lights I have on the background on the RED Komodo and actually on the Mavic 2 Pro show up as purple for some reason, and I know that's something I've been dealing with the RED Komodo. Whereas on the Pocket 4K and on the ZV1, it does show up as blue as it is in real life. I don't necessarily have an issue with that, but it's interesting to see where the color shifts from camera to camera. So when you're using Dehancer, it not only gives you the option to choose what camera is being graded, but it also gives you the option to choose which log you're using. In Dehancer, we use the Fuji Xperia 200 film stock. What's interesting about that is to see how the colors shift from camera to camera, or really from sensor to sensor. The color shift, I believe, is less about Dehancer and more about the color science of the various cameras. So this was meant just to be a fun little test. It wasn't meant to prove what camera is better than the other. I just wanted to see kind of how it looks here in the studio. So if you guys have any questions about things you didn't see in today's video, any more tests you'd like me to run between these 4 cameras, hit me up in the comments below. And if you like today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until next time, my name is Geoff Fagien. I'll see you guys in the next video.